Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Half the Race Gone. My name is DirtenDK, and I'm gonna take you through round 5, split 1, race 1 of the Nukeshot Endurance Series. We are at Suzuka in Japan, and I think, well, without giving any spoilers away, I think you can get your fingers ready on the F button. So let's go fetch the replay. Now I can just let me start out by saying I was an absolute fool after the race yesterday because before the race, it was because I hadn't deleted some old replays and made proper space for this one. So this race, or this on my part, is gonna be 55 minutes of watching, and luckily our very good friends at Nukeshot Motorsports, they kindly told us that told me that they'd be able to step in and help. And that way through, we are also gonna be able the last 5 minutes of the race. And actually, I will very quickly throw in a link in the description. So, as a new feature, I also thought that a new feature. I've been doing it for a couple of weeks now in the M3 series, and I thought that it's about time we introduced this to the NES field. It is, of course, as blatantly stolen from great Australian YouTuber, sim racing commentator, and much more, Charlie Roscoe. Go check out his channel. It is a lot of fun indeed. I actually got the idea from the grid walk from him, just to be clear and fair about that. And also just thought that it would be just about the perfect day to do this grid walk and to premiere it in the NES, because we have livery fortnight today. And just a second, as I'm just gonna patch in a link to the channel of Nukeshot Motorsports, where the last 5 minutes of the race is gonna be shown. And it's gonna be right on top of things in the description. So please just bear with me for a second, and we'll be right there. So that should pretty much be it. That means we should have the link. Now I just need to find the video again. So, there it is. So I'm not cut off in chat. Anyways, on pole position in the beautifully made Martini livery, I have to say here for livery fortnight, it is Armored Core once more in pole position, just repeating his feat from the race on Dragon Trail. In second position, it is CJ the Greek with teammate Joe of the Fire. Look at those Japanese-inspired Audis in P3 on the grid. Then it is Traels666 Judge edging out myself. Also the two Porsches just very close, only separated by, I think it was 37 thousandths of a second. And that was, of course, lining out the LMP field. On top of things, in the GT field today, we have once more Nilse, the incredibly quick German. I don't think there can be much doubt about him going into the pro ranks next season. Then it is Y-Bear in second position, right in front of Off Apple, who leads out Gugus in the second row. Then it is Mika, and once more we have a returnee to the series, Jim. And we're just gonna call him Jim because it's one of these other name and numbers combination. But that is Jim in the Britannia racing car. Great looking, surely that Audi R8 there. Then it is Ninja Karma in second to last position, and at the end of the grid, not setting a qualifying time. It was Snipperator, of course, at the end there. So that concludes the grid walk, and now with that having been done, let's get the formation lap underway. So that is Armored Core in the Toyota TS015. You're asking where Traels? Well, Traels just didn't have the time, sadly, to join me today for this broadcast. So I am here all alone, all by myself. He has a somewhat more busy schedule in the end than I do, and that is why I always have the ability to make time for these broadcasts. Traels is not so lucky at all, and he works more hours, and there's many reasons that he is not here, and obviously, of course, it is a big shame, and I'd be the first to tell you that I think it's also a lot more fun with him around. But anyways, Armored Core is leading him off, as I said before. Well, one thing about doing the grid walk is that all of a sudden we've got that out of the way even before the warm-up lap, which of course in turn gives time to cover some other issues. That also leaves me time to have a sip of the coffee. Certainly not a bad thing. And yeah, Suzuka. It is a very, very demanding track for multi-class racing. It's a track that demands constant attention from the drivers in traffic. I mean, and it's a track where you can easily lose a lot of time, especially in the LMP cars, having to pass the slow-moving traffic in front of you in form of the GT cars. But also because Suzuka, in its nature, it's narrow, and there are just so many places on the track where there just isn't place to go too wide in any way, which is also in turn why I think much of the Japanese multi-class racing that we have seen over the years has been raced on Fuji, because it just has so much more space. It's so much more in the width of things. Of course, Suzuka, very famous for all of these Formula One appearances. Many dramatic moments in the history of Formula One here at Suzuka, as we have the LMP field and splurge. Yeah, you of course, very good coffee. Life is too short for bad coffee. And Joe mentioning about something about the ballast, where the ballast is only what was picked up at the last race at Dragon Trail, which isn't really much. That is me with 3%, and it is Armored Core now giving the pedal to the metal as they come down towards turn 1. CJ still in front of Joe of the Fire there. Armored Core goes wide, CJ goes wide as well, and Traels is all the way into the sand, so that is a huge moment there. I get off quite well. Joe of the Fire gets a perfect start there, and now is taking the lead, coming down from 3rd position, so F's out, boys and girls, for this one. That was probably the most dramatic start we've had in the LMP class so far. And now it is Joe of the Fire in a perfect position, as we have the GT field now coming up. It is once more the responsibility of Netzaman. He goes full throttle right there. He has tried this thing a couple of times before, or two. So Nils leading him out there. It's Gugus having moved up 2 positions there. Brilliant start from his sake. Off Apple there, holding on to the third position in class, with Wirebear having lost some ground. He is down to P4. Mika is in P5. And doing close battling there around Ninja Karma. They're losing out of position. And then is Jim and the Britannia Audi with Snipperator still at the back of affairs. So Nilseman having gotten a brilliant start here. Gugas under pressure from off Apple. Oh, as Apple seems to want to go towards the inside here, but it becomes the outside down to the hairpin. Oh, Gugas just shields him off there. But it gives both of them a bad run out of the corner, and now Wirebear might be there to gain on it in the end. Oh, as Off Apple just squeezes by on the inside there. Wirebear also a bit of rubbing down, coming down the straight down to 130R. Now it is Ninja Karma flashing his lights. Gugas seemingly there getting a terrible exit, losing several track positions as they go too wide, and Gugas is into the grass, he's into the sand, but he manages to keep the car under control there. Mika seeming to make a move there, and Gugas, oh, that was a poor moment, but also maybe a poor decision to go too wide there. As in front, Mika slides out there, Gugas in the back. I don't know what happened there, it looked completely weird. A simultaneous two cars going in each their direction, but still separated by 25 meters or so. That looked very weird still. Nilseman looking very steady at the front of affairs. Off Apple now up into second position with Wirebear in third and Ninja Karma in fourth. And at the head of the LMP field, it is still Joe of the Fire now nursing a little bit of a gap down to myself. CJ having recovered very well from his early incident, and Armored Core also getting a decent run there, and none of them picking up any damage. Traels at this point, oh, what a terrible start it's been for him. Poor luck for good old Traels. And he would certainly have been hoping for better than this off the back of his GT win at Dragon Trail. Still Joe of the Fire, and he is just increasing the gap now. CJ has closed the gap up to me and is now really applying some pressure up through the S's here into Dunlop and down towards the Daxers, but this is no place to make a move, and I think CJ pretty much knows that. And also, of course, too much squabbling in front will need... Oh, and Armored Core goes a little bit wide there. Looks squirmy onto the AstroTurf. As we go on board with CJ for a moment here. And here down towards Spoon Curve. And now exit is all important here from Spoon on the long back straight. CJ just thinks about making a move, but also just has to back out. Simply not really able to get the better braking. The Audi isn't exactly that strong under braking, as now the LMP field is gonna hit the first wave of traffic. And it is Mika getting overtaken by the battle for second position here, coming down towards turn one. Armored Core seemingly also getting saved. I also have to say that is the curse of the commentator, because he makes contact with Mika. Seemingly no damage for Armored Core there. Lucky in that situation, it seemed. So difficult to get the overtaking right up through the S's there. Traels pits in with a huge amount of damage. Once more, I already warned you of this. F's out for Traels666. Horrible luck for the half the race gone team member here. Co-commentator all around good guy and in no way deserving of the start that he has gotten here. Joe of the Fire still looking smooth out in front. As I'm still having CJ for company here as we come up towards the Britannia Audi. Oh, he gets a little nudge there. And CJ also gets cleanly through. So this might just be the chance for CJ as we come down towards the 130R. And it is certainly, as I go a little bit defensive there and just shut him on the outside. Close racing indeed between the two of us. But also nice to see some very clean racing so far here. CJ seeming to get the run. He's very close on the slipstream coming down towards turn 1. As he gives a little more space than I think he was giving, because I was actually feeling a bit shut in behind when I was driving there. I hadn't seen the replay at all before this, so just well done to CJ for that move there. Well timed, well executed as well. And he takes second position and seemingly also quite a lot faster than I just swing in. Traffic is so chaotic here at Suzuka. So it's CJ through the Doxers. He is just around 5 seconds, 5-6 seconds I'd say behind Joe of the Fire. And he's now coming up to pass the GT leader, that is Nilseman. CJ around the outside. And now I have Armored Core for company as well. So here just taking a look with Nilseman and Armored Core just getting caught up, and there is a little bit of contact there as well between Armored Core and Nilse. And just goes to show that what I mentioned earlier about many of these corners just having one line through them really, and it is so unnatural to have to take anything else but that one line, and this really shows in the difficulties of negotiating the traffic today. However, I think Nilseman seemingly still with a bit of an advantage down to Bear, having gotten pretty cleanly away there, the Indonese. And he is still holding off Apple, now back down into third position. So Bear having regained his starting position. Ninja Karma, he's also on a bit of an island already there. And it is Jim in the Britannia Audi, and he seems to be doing quite well for himself. Also it's Fugas in, well, that will be 6th position. Snipperator having gained a position on Mika, and Mika looking to be on pretty worn rubber already in that Subaru of Rotterdam Performance. So it's still Joe of the Fire, and he is still nursing that advantage down to CJ. It'll be interesting to see if CJ can... Oh, CJ has a big moment there out the hairpin. And that is Armored Core in the Toyota. Oh, as he has a huge moment and just goes into the runoff there at Spoon Curve, but brilliantly made just to save it in the first place. I think I also had a moment here on this lap because I have dropped back behind Armored Core now into 4th position. So a lot of action happening just at this moment still. And now it seems to be Bear who's making up some of that ground to Nilseman. Last time we saw these two drivers, the gap was definitely bigger than it is now. Coming through 130R just with the inside tires there on the grass. That is not the fastest way through. And heavy braking for the chicane. And looking at the front tires of that Corvette, they are absolutely spent now. Bear going into the lead, and Bear having really seemed to have found a very, very good relationship with that AMG GT of his. some very even tire wear, and to match it is some very, very, very fine pace as well there. So good work from him at this moment off Apple. You see also already on the fresh soft, so it seems Ninja Karma and Snipperator on the racing hards there, or so my graphic would tell me. And it is of course the 3 stubbers that we are having in the pits at the moment. There is Gugas, Mika and Jim now at the back of affairs. So still Joe of the Fire in the lead, still with CJ in second, and still also an advantage that looks to be pretty much status quo from before. But the two at this moment with somewhat of an advantage here. I am back up into third position. Armored Core could have been just some moment for him. I think for both of us, both for Armored Core and I, throughout this race, it was very much just survival and just see both of us making a couple of mistakes. Traffic generally here was very much a stressful factor here. Traels seemingly having gotten into a rhythm at this point. Y-Bear now. So Y-Bear now in the lead of the GT class. It'll be interesting to see how long he can stretch those soft tires. And off Apple is in second position, but the gap is by no means huge. As Nilse is getting passed by some of the faster moving traffic there. And he is now in third position in class, with teammate Ninja Karma in fourth, Snipperator in fifth, then it is Gugas in sixth, now having battle with Jim down towards, I'm sorry, that is of course Mika in the Subaru, as Gugas goes wide. Couldn't handle the pressure there, just tried to carry a bit too much speed into that corner and ended up on the runoff instead. As we have Joe of the Fire and CJ coming into the pits now, so it'll be interesting to see if there will be any differences to pitting strategy, fueling strategy, or whatever. We see Joe of the Fire here, just tires, and away he goes. No fuel, maybe just a little bit. That was actually the car CJ. I thought it was Joe of the Fire we were watching, but still no changes to the lead. So also come in for the first pit stop. And that means Armored Core is back up into third position. Traels has had a lot of bad luck already. He is in fifth. It is Y-Bear, who's still just looking ever so strong. He's also been looking like he's been struggling a bit with the weight ballast that he's been driving with for a couple of rounds now, and I'm sure he is delighted to get rid of some of that extra weight to be carrying. As we see the BMW Z4 of Apple here, Nukeshot Motorsports. Now Nilseman with a little bit of company from behind. The two Corvettes are actually quite close on pure track position at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if Ninja Karma can put any kind of pressure onto his teammate now. Snipperator is just biding his time at the moment as Armored Core is into the pits. And that is on what should be a two-stop strategy on the racing mediums. Pretty close to the 20-minute mark, so that is well carried out. Armored Core, and he even manages to keep his track position there, coming out right in front of me down the pit exit. So with 20 minutes of the race gone in the LMP class, it is still Joe onto the lead that he grabbed right at turn 1 when CJ and Armored Core and Traels went wide. CJ is getting closer, it just seems here. Bear now into the pits. Armored Core hanging on to third position. Let's see. Funny little bump the car does when you change the camera there. Anyways, just Tyres it would seem. And 10 liters of fuel also, so a little bit of fueling also being done. And a fresh pair of racing soft tires for him. And that now leads off Apple leading the GT class at the moment. But of course, somehow you'd expect him to be a pit stop behind on Bear. No, you would expect him to be on terms with Bear at the moment, even though Bear is now on completely fresh tires, so he will certainly have an advantage in that perspective at this moment. As yeah, Joe, it's a good question with the little hydraulics. Maybe they've been watching too many Dr. Dre videos. I don't know. Anyways, it is Bear and Off Apple now battling out for the lead. Nilseman trying to join along there from the back. And now having company from race leader Joe of the Fire, having to string his way through traffic once more. Seemingly having just holding on to that advantage down to CJ. It looks to be quite static. So Joe of the Fire not really having had any problems, at least as far as we've seen so far with the traffic. CJ, he certainly has gotten a bit closer here on this lap. So he did negotiate the traffic quickly, the Greek. Oh, he had a little moment there through 130R. Armored Core is a bit away back and close to him. It is me on the hunt. And in the GT class it is still Off Apple. And he is now in turn being, he is, the traffic is tight here. As Joe of the Fire sweeps by. As CJ sweeps by. Bear at the same time, but this is up through the S's, so CJ will probably lose a bit here unless he can find a way through on the outside. Well done there from CJ. Bear now closing in on Off Apple as well. So it looks like we're gonna have a real battle for the lead in the GT class happening quite shortly. It certainly looks like he is closing that gap rather quickly there, Bear. And that is no more than about a second at the moment. There is Nilseman, but he is just a bit away back. Around in about 10 seconds, I'd say. Ninja Karma having lost a little bit of time, and there is the battle for third position now. Very close between Armored Core and myself. So Armored Core having lost some time there through traffic. Oh, as I just go very wide there through Spoon Corner, and that really lost me bucket loads of time. And Armored Core flashing the driver up ahead. That is Nilsson, that is Ninja Karma. Oh, Armored Core there. Very close there. There was a little bit of contact from me to Armored Core, but no damage for Armored Core, luckily. A little bit of front splitter damage for me, and just goes to show that the confusion in the traffic just happens so easily, and it can be difficult to judge for all of us. Here's Wybear now into the lead. Off Apple, had he made a mistake or something? He already lost a good load of time, and his front tires look very, very worn indeed. Nilsson also now catching up to the two of them in front. Seemingly the gap has decreased in front of him. And at the same time, Ninja Karma falling a bit behind. There it is. Snipperator still holding on to 5th position. And it is Jim, Gugus, and Mika. Mika certainly not having a fantastic race so far. A very young driver, the Dutchman, but also having shown that he is a talented one by grabbing the podium already on several occasions in the LMP class. Of course, in the AM split, that is, Joe of the Fire is still leading here, coming on to lap 15. 26 minutes of racing gone at the moment. And ever so slightly, it seems though CJ is getting closer. I call that'll be within a couple of laps that we'll be seeing a proper battle for the lead here between the two Vert Audis. Armored Core now with a little bit of cushion down to myself. There's still Traels in P5 living a little bit of a lonely life down there. And Wybear still in the lead in the GT class now, off Apple in the pits. And that did look like a necessary pit stop for him. And that is him getting just about passed by Ninja Karma there on the outside. Albeit he'll be on fresher tires now, off Apple. He'll be hoping just to get quickly He'll be hoping to get past quickly, which is what I wanted to say initially. Anyways, here he is. That did not take him long to catch up. And he is right up, and he is, I think, through as well, down through Dunlop. He certainly is. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a piece of pie either myself. And it doesn't look like Ninja Karma has much to do right now on those tires. Looking too worn to be able to keep up with the Apple. Wybear now, and he has certainly built himself quite something of a lead, and he is certainly also conserving his tires very, very well. Yeah, Dunlop is the left-hander, CJ, that's also what I said before. The two Degners, and then, yeah, you said it yourself right there, but they were going through the long left-hander as I said it. I might have said something that was wrong. I'll say that I'm not in any way infallible, but I think I was correct on what corner they were coming through there. Anyways, it is Wybear still leading, as I said before, and his advantage is looking very healthy indeed. Down to Nilsson of Apple is in 3rd position now on the fresh rubber. And Ninja Karma looking like he's gonna have to make a pit stop soon. It is Snipperator there on the racing hard tires in the Porsche 911 that he knows quite well. Raced the entirety of Season 3 in this car. So for him, it will probably be pretty much like returning home here. He has Jim for company now, so it is looking like a bit of a battle starting here to develop for 5th and 6th position in the GT class at the moment. And just checking in with the leaders in the LMP class because CJ wasn't far back last time we looked, and he certainly isn't either now, but also Joe of the Fire looking quite strong here at the moment, and he is... Well, he is by no means pulling out an advantage, but he is also making it difficult for CJ to catch up. CJ, however, having seemingly managed his tires a little bit better. And here I come into pit and to repair the damage I had after the small bump there with the armored core that left him unbruised, but it left my car a little bit wrecked. And as we say that, half the race gone, and just as we say that, armored core disappears into the blue air. What a Houdini! I think we have rarely seen such Houdinis in the history of motorsports. I have rarely seen a car that efficiently just disappear and retire. Of course, that is, in all seriousness, that was a connection issue, I think, or it might also have been just armored core running out of patience. But anyways, F's in chat for armored core, and that leaves a podium space, so something to drive for me at Trails, you can say, as both the Audis also come into the pits now. It is Joe of the Fire and CJ, and they might be close enough actually at this point to actually have a switch happening here in the pits. We are looking at CJ now, Joe of the Fire at the same time here. Fuel just a little bit coming on. CJ there taking a lot more fuel on basically than Joe of the Fire. And let's see how that plays out. It'll be interesting to see if Joe can make a stint work on the amount of fuel that he put on the car. Right there, CJ in turn looking like he could probably go for the last 2 stints without refueling, which also might just be his strategy. Because one thing is catching up to somebody on Suzuka, but it is quite another thing getting past. It is so difficult to overtake here. I'm still, every time I see those jumping cars in the pit lane, I just well, I hope I don't bring too bad luck on the stream, CJ. But every time I see those cars in the pit lane, it just makes me think of the video from Still DRE. And you could probably make a really cool GIF with bouncing cars in Suzuka pit lane. I'm counting on you guys. One of you has to make it. So it is now CJ. He's still in 2nd position. He is in a car that is a little bit heavier than his teammate in front. And now he will be hoping to just stay where he is, and then maybe just be able to overtake Joe on the Joe off the Fire on the last pit round. Bear, he is looking. He's looking ever so strong there, still with a very, very healthy advantage down to Nilseman. Off Apple still contending the podium spots also in the GT class. And he and Nilse are pretty close. After all, Ninja Karma is in the pits right now. So he'll be hoping to be able to defend his 4th place from Snip. Let's see where is Snip. He is coming right out of the chicane at the moment there, so no problem, I think, in that sense for Ninja Karma, at least not this time round. Yeah, Joe, to be honest, I could take a look actually at the timestamps to see when the next thing is happening, when stuff is going down. Right now we have yourself Joe of the Fire coming through traffic there. CJ looking to just be losing some time there with off Apple as that was a patient test for the Greek and well handled. As he also manages to sneak by the car of Nilsson, and they're off Apple getting close to the German in front, so that is also a battle developing now for P2 in the GT class. So that will be interesting to see here. Myself, I'm now on the racing hard tires and I lose the back and go into the wall. That is damage. Can I see some crying smileys for myself? Gloves are being thrown at the windshield in that Porsche at the moment. And by no means am I satisfied with that piece of driving from myself. Certainly goes to show that this was far from my day either, and I've never been good friends with driving cars this fast around Suzuka. It's not that I don't like the track, but I find it much more suited for, well, things that go a little bit less fast than these. It feels like traveling in some kind of Star Trek warp speed coming around some of these corners in an LMP1 car, and sometimes it just feels like my brain just can't follow up on what's going on around here. Just having to battle with the car there through the chicane and dipping right into the pits to get that damage fixed. Are we gonna see the jump? Are we gonna see the jump? Mechanics out. That was a little jump. So Joe of the Fire, and I think we had a couple of retirees at this point. Also a big dropout of drivers. Rest in peace to Mika, whose connection failed, I think, joining Armored Core in the ranks of the DNFs. Joe, don't ruin it all. Now we're looking at the battle between Snipperator and Jim. And it is for P4 in class at the moment. I'm sorry, it is of course P5 in class after Armored Core is no longer with us. Will have to keep me on my toes there. So Jim seemingly faster right now on the tires, but also kind of struggling to find a way by it. Even though as we say that, he might make the move. Nope. Just holds off a little bit there. Is this what you were talking about before, Joe? Look, I'm really good at Gran Turismo Sport. Obviously one of my worst days. Or not one of the worst days, but definitely not one of the better ones at least. That was a massive F on the outlap from another damaged pit stop, and it took me so long to get going again. Oh yeah. A shit situation indeed. Now it's Wybear we're looking at. He is still just adding on to that advantage of his, it seems. As we don't by no means have any kind of times here with the corrupt file. Oh, Apple getting low on fuel. Looking like he's on very worn tires also. And Nilsson looking fresh for the challenge here, as he is also catching up to the Brit in second. So Ninja Karma now also just having a bit of a gap in front of himself. Snipperator having been able to defend from Jim, and it seems like Jim is at a pit stop for whatever reason. That might be tire change, or that might also have been some damage to the car, even though we hope it was just the first. Now we have Apple in for another scheduled pit stop, very low on fuel, very low on tires, and with the bouncy car once more. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Ninja Karma there. Oh, Ninja Karma is a long way back, and Off Apple will have no problem holding on to that third position as he comes out the pit. Well, look at the racing softs of Wirebear. They look to be very, very dead also at this moment. So he will be looking at a pit stop also very shortly. It is also the window now opening up. Second window for the two stoppers. And hello to Welch in chat. Nice to see you, and glad you've been enjoying the racing here from Suzuka. It's been a while since we checked in on the leaders in the LMP field. It is still Joe of the Fire leading, and he's now coming up to overtake Snippy Boy there, and does quite well of giving space. Snipperator there in that situation. Let's see if CJ gets just as cleanly around. Very smooth also there, and that is through Dunlop and down towards the Daxers, as to avoid any kind of confusion. And then it's up towards the kink and then the hairpin. CJ now a little bit closer than he seemed he was before. And with all my problems, it is now Traels who is up into third position. So I've really binned it for myself on, and I lost a lot of time. Well, that might develop into a late race battle between the two teammates, Traels and myself. Between the two commentators, presenters here. It'll be an interesting one to follow. As Traels, as I also just faced a short time ago, the humiliation of being lapped. There is Joe of the Fire. And now CJ. As Traels just dips off into the pits to have his car serviced. CJ not really being able to make any decisive cuts into the lead of Joe of the Fire, at least at the moment, but it also always swings a bit back and forth with how the traffic is dealt with and so on. So every time the car in front hits some traffic, then the car behind will be gaining, and then as soon as he gets by, the car in front then meets up with the traffic, and he'll often be losing a bit of time. Sometimes you can be really lucky just to pick up 3-4 seconds just like that on the traffic there, as CJ goes very, very, very early in on that corner. But Joe of the Fire is still holding on. Now it is myself back up into third position in class here. It's Snipperator is at the side of the road, and he has damage up behind, and that does not look like someone who is gonna continue the race. But that does not mean we're gonna be looking at the painful situation of a still standing car there. Yellow flag is waved as Jim moves up into what is now P4 in class, P5 in class it is, of course. Nilseman, as he's into the pits now, very low on fuel. I think we just saw Jim getting a little squirmy there before. Oh, it is. Slippy Boy became Rippy Boy. That was a good one, Apple. Cheers. And rest in peace, Snip. I think this is the race we've had this season with the most retirees so far. Ninja Karma, he's still holding on to his fourth position, and Jim, being somewhat the survivor, having moved up the order, he is just still running around the track. Of course, not in a literal sense, but the car is running around the track, I'm sure. If you get the picture, I just got the thought in my head of one of the drivers literally running around the track. That would be very fun indeed. So Joe of the Fire still leading in front of teammate CJ, and we are nearing the last pit stop round for the 3 stoppers, meaning that we'll see whether the extra fuel tactic from CJ on that middle pit stop is gonna pay off in the end. That's gonna be really interesting to see, because you do see he has over a quarter of his fuel tank left there. Joe of the Fire is getting quite a lot closer to be running on fumes. So if CJ managed to be close enough coming in to the pit stop round here, he could also go for the overcut as Joe of the Fire negotiates the traffic up wide bear there and goes straight off into the chicane there, and somehow slams it into the chicane wall and manages to turn the car around very efficiently, though picking up quite a lot of damage. I don't know if that was planned, but a big F for Joe of the Fire there, and that is certainly not gonna help his chances of winning this race. It has been a very, very close duel for so long now. For 45 minutes they have been so close. And now it is CJ in the lead, and he hasn't really been looking like making many mistakes today. And Joe of the Fire is just leaving the pits here, so that is a massive disadvantage he'll be at from now on and during the last 14 minutes of racing here. Traels still running around there with a bit of damage to his front splitter. Bear looking ever as comfortable as steady. He has been looking so strong for the entirety of this race off Apple. He is still in 2nd position, and he's doing a very strong job at the moment. He is running on racing mediums at the moment. He noted that in chat earlier. Took an early stop, went for the harder compound to be able just to stretch that pit stop, and now he's gonna be hoping for him to be possible to just keep Nilseman behind. So Nilseman just rounding off the podium in the GT class at the moment. Ninja Karma, he has been in that P4 in class pretty much all race and has been looking quite stable. Maybe not the fastest performance we have seen from him during this season, but at least a lot more consistent than what we saw at the Dragon Trail 2 weeks ago from his sake. So it's a much stronger performance this time in reality, and for a first race here in the series, I think it's been quite strong work from Jim there, even though he is a bit away behind Ninja Karma at the moment. So now CJ is leading Joe of the Fire by what looks to be 5-6 seconds or something like that. Traels, he is, well, just beginning to wonder whether it's actually 1 or 2 laps that he's down. And at this moment, I just went in to have super softs put on for whatever reason. As I'm just trying to negotiate off Apple through the S's there. And it is very much a difficult situation. So it is CJ leading the LMP class in front of Joe of the Fire. Traels is in 3rd position, so he is looking at a podium spot at the moment. And trying to fight off myself. No team orders. for this race. Guaranteed there for half the race gone. Motorsports. It is Wybear comfortably leading his class. Off-Apple is quite a bit of way back at this moment. Nilseman, however, looking to be closing up on Apple, so we might have a battle developing there in the GT class for P2 still. Ninja Karma, well, he is just like Tom Hanks. He is on an island, and he is so much isolated at the moment that he might have drawn a face onto a plank and made it his best friend. And same almost goes for Jim, basically. So CJ still looking at that 5-6 second advantage. And with 10 minutes of racing to go, oh, was Joe off the fire, just had a bit of a moment there, having been off, and that is probably gonna be the end of his chances unless CJ completely overcooks it at some point. So now CJ with a very good advantage there, and he can surely just back off the pace just that little bit now to be able to make absolutely sure that he just gets to the line. It is still Joe of the Fire in second, of course. He has a massive gap down to the two bad luck Porsches in third and fourth position. In class, it is Traels still in third. And with regards to the stream going up on the Nukeshot Motorsports channel, I don't think you'll be in doubt as to, I think this stream is just gonna die all of a sudden, and yeah. So now CJ having picked up some damage, as he just noted in chat. And how is that gonna affect things at this moment, Joe of the Fire? Well, he is a bit of way back. It might just still be close. Oh, there was a car parked around the side there, and there was a car of Jim, so bad luck there. Through the Deckners for his sake. But being very careful in rejoining the track, so very good to see him being aware of that in that situation and being safe. First of all, it is myself now closing up upon teammate Traels666, who might have a tough time bringing that car home with the aero damage at the front in that third position. So this might just be a battle that is developing now at the moment. Off-Apple still with a bit of clear air down to Nilseman. But Nils has certainly gotten closer than last time we had a look. Wybear looking very comfortable still. And Ninja Karma, it just seems to be a bit too far back to be able to do anything about contenders. He's still in the situation as he was before. So no need to make any more stupid castaway jokes. Anyways, it is CJ leading on. Joe of the Fire just having a look at the map, but he is quite a long way back, even though we'd expect him to be going a little faster now. Just goes a little wide onto the AstroTurf, out through the Deckners. And now it's Traels through the Deckners there. And in it, myself closing up ever so slightly. What do you mean, CJ? Because I have to overtake Traels or what? We'll see if we get that far. Anyways, it is Still Joe of the Fire in second position. He is chasing teammate, the fast Greek guy, CJ Crazy John. Or Giannis, if I'm not completely mistaken. Anyways, oh, there we are, close now. Traels getting a little squirmy there on the entrance to the last chicane. So time for a drag race. So glad to have your name at least correct there, CJ. It is Traels holding on to P3. And rest in peace, the replay. Oh, I feel so stupid. I feel so goddamn dumb. Anyways, anybody watching the stream right now, head right over to Nukeshot Motorsports, where in just a couple of minutes we will be resuming with the remainder of the race, and I will be happy to join off Apple in trying to do my best to just spice things up along and maybe bring in my my thoughts about the race and everything at the end. So well, on a quick note, thank you for tuning in to Have the Race Gone. I'm a twat waffle. I need to get my shit straight, and I will till next time get my shit straight. So till next time, until then, take care, have fun. You've been watching Have the Race Gone. My name is DirtenDK, and yeah, as I said before, take care, chill, have fun, and bye bye.